What's up, guys? It is Sam here, coming to you live from where I'm at. And tonight, I wanted to bring an epic battle together between Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders. And we're going to battle it off in a couple different avenues. We're going to take a look at the Google search volume for each of these over a 12-month, 3-month, and 1-month period to see who wins. And we're going to do the same thing on YouTube, and then we're going to take a look at their YouTube channel, and we're going to look at the number of subscribers in a weekly basis and the number of views on a weekly basis on average. And we're going to compare those, and then we're going to do similar things on their website to just build an understanding of if these people are relevant relative to each other in terms of the spectrum of awareness here in the United States. They have to be aware. Everybody has to be aware. The more people aware of them, the higher the likelihood that somebody would vote for them, right? Like if somebody's never heard of somebody, there's like probably a very low probability of them voting for them. But before we get into all of those, we are going to talk about why we're comparing these two, and specifically these two, and then why do we even do a power ranking. So if you want to watch all of that, make sure you grab your drink and some popcorn, and let's get started. If it's your first time here, what's good? My name is Sam, and if you're returning, it's good to freaking see you. You had better be smashing that like button if you're a returning viewer. For those new guys, it's okay. Like, next video, do it. Okay. Why do a power ranking? Well, first of all, what the fuck is a power ranking? Well, I'm coming with a power ranking using similar things that we're using today, and we're covering the race for the Democratic Party nominee. So we're using the data to come up with our own power rankings versus something like Fox or CNN might come up with, because I think what I'm trying to get across here is just find the thing that's the most accurate of reality and use that. I don't care where it's from, but I think that there's a lot more data in what I'm doing versus this polling data, and that's why it's resonating so deeply right now. And that is why we're doing these rankings. That's why we're looking at the data in this way, is to try to get a better understanding of what's actually happening versus what talking heads say and what like different polling data shows from several hundred people or several thousand. Like this is based on millions of search volume on YouTube and Google. Like this is based on their website, how it ranks in the whole US, right? Like, so this is a lot of data points, their Facebook pages and whatnot. So this is why we're using all of this information. Okay, now let's come over to why we're comparing these two specifically. Check out this awesome graphic I found. I do not own it. I just pulled it from insert images, but it's actually pretty close between these two. So I've been doing the power ranking now for about 3 weeks, and a lot of them between Bernie and Yang, they kind of go back and forth on a lot of these things. So I thought it would be a very interesting tell without a lot of the other noise to just compare Bernie and Yang, because I think that they actually compare really well against each other, where a lot of the other people are not anywhere near there. We might actually be seeing Biden lose a little bit of steam based on the data we're seeing, but that is why I wanted to compare these two specifically. Now, let's jump over to Google searches first. So we are actually on YouTube, but this is the what you do is you put in Google Trends, which is up here, and then you just search for the terms. We're going to look at the past 12 months first on the web search. Here we can clearly see the average search is significantly higher for Bernie Sanders over the 12 months. But we do also see here the blue line that it's just been up and to the right, even at, it looks like a slightly steeper slope than what is for Bernie Sanders. Now let's come into the 90-day. We have a 90-day. Again, Bernie's winning again at the 90-day here. A lot closer though, significantly closer. Let's check out the 30-day here. 30-day, it is almost the same, but Bernie Sanders wins. And if you look at the demographic area, if you look at the geographic breakdown, you can see that Andrew Yang is actually winning the search volume by state in a number of states, probably like 10 or so, or 12 states. So that's interesting. Let's jump over to YouTube. So overall, what we have is Bernie Sanders won this round. Now, let's take, I don't have any cool editing to flash it up on the screen, but we'll just say Google went to Bernie Sanders. So now this is on YouTube, and YouTube Yang won on the 30-day. So let's go to the 90-day. Again, Yang also wins on the 90-day, and it does look like more recently, especially since the debate, he's also picked up his lead over Bernie Sanders. So let's go out to the 12-month here. And Bernie is actually winning at the 12-month by a small margin. But which is kind of interesting, I see here on YouTube. We saw this trend on the Google search volume. You can see here, it's just up and to the right for Yang. Let me make sure I'm not covering this up. Yeah, okay. It's just up and to the right here from like about 6 months ago, or towards the beginning of the year, so 8 months ago or so, 7 months ago, something like that. It's up and to the right, and towards right around here, it started to be, on average, Yang has a higher turnout. So at the 12-month, Bernie wins, but I would say that we can probably call this one a draw because they're so close. You can say it's for Bernie either way. This round goes to Yang, but I think we could probably say this is going to be a draw. If you just want to wait for the data, then you would strictly say Bernie was winning. And I agree, like that's what the data says, and we're not going to put anything on it, right? So we have no idea what the future is going to hold. So we would just say Bernie won this round, Yang won the other 2 rounds, and those are more recent in terms of 90-day and 30-day, that data is actually more valuable than the 12-month data, in my opinion. It holds more valuable information in the more recent data. So we have 1 round for Yang and 1 round for Bernie on those platforms. Next, let's take a look at their YouTube channel. So we have Yang. He's got 91,000 subscribers. And we're going to look at this, right? This is the average views over a week, right? Weekly here. And the average subscribers are a little over 3,000, right? 3.2 thousand. And another thing that I did is actually pulled up both of their YouTube channels, and this is actually a criticism of mine of the Andrew Yang campaign in general. I think this is a huge wasted opportunity. So just share this with somebody on their team. But look at this. So this is about 2 months ago. Was the last upload as of before 5 days ago. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Plus, if you look, and it looks like maybe somebody they just decided to get started on it or something, or I don't know if this is going to continue because nothing's been posted in the last 2 days, which I just think is a wasted opportunity to me. Not only are only these clips like a minute or so long, which is fine, it's awesome. I think creating content is fantastic, but I think this is a complete tangent, but I think the volume of this needs to increase drastically, as well as the variety of content. So when he does these campaigns, meetings and stuff, and meeting with people, there should be a creative or a videographer with him the entire time to film like his actual thing, like wherever he's doing this campaigning, whether it's a school or college, like get the pre-approval if they need it to just film them, and all this should be fucking uploaded here so that everybody can see it'll fucking work. And I think that's a tremendously wasted opportunity. Anyways, let's get over here to Bernie Sanders. What's up, brother? So this guy's got 222,000, so more than double the size of Andrew Yang, right? Like 2.3 in terms of he's like 2.3 times greater than Andrew Yang. We come down here. He also has less. He has less than 2 from a view count, which is kind of interesting on the weekly average here, right? Because Andrew Yang has 204, I think it is. right? So double that would be 408 versus 360. So Yang's actually getting a more engaged audience or more awareness in the sense that for the size of his channel, right? Because he has 91,000, but he has 204 views versus Bernie Sanders has 222,000, I think it was. Yeah, 222,000, but he's only getting 360,000 views. So I mean, he's still like hugely more popular than Yang. I'm just saying that from that standpoint. We look at the last 30 days, and then we look at the total number of subscribers, right? 20,000 over here. Yang is 13.7, and his is only 900,000. So this just all three things lead to Bernie Sanders, and this is actually the third thing. So we have total views and total subscriber growth is both of those categories are won by Bernie Sanders, like pretty easily. And then we took a look at the sheer number of content, right? So this is good, right? There was a bunch of content released, like in a package, it looks like, of some sort here. And then we come over to Bernie Sanders, and remember how Andrew Yang didn't release anything for about 2 months? So we come over here and we look, and Bernie Sanders, okay, here we go. Here's 2 months ago. 2 months is right here, right? Let me see if I can highlight some of this to make it easier to see. Andrew Yang starts right here where I first highlighted it. So he's got, look at all this content that he's putting out. So surely he's going to be leading because he's actually fucking trying. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you actually put out content, he's doing it consistently too, like over time. That's what really matters, and that's why he's performing very well, even though the Yang campaign doesn't have that piece in play really yet. Next, so overall, definitely goes to Bernie Sanders in this round. Now we jump over to their websites. So this is kind of interesting. This gives some interesting data around it. It says 69% of this site's audience visits sites in this category, the category being news and magazine, and this is relating to Yang 2020. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but this is what we actually want to take a look at. We want to take a look over here. In the US, his site is ranked 2014th. Just a little bit right here. You see how this is a giant piece of growth at a much more rapid slope. It was shortly reined in, but that was actually from the debate. So he saw a substantial increase on his website. So you know that the guerrilla marketing worked because of the increased amount of traffic on his website. So clearly he was like, yeah, that was a good fucking idea. We got so much more awareness than what we were expecting. Not only did get a big spike in growth, but it looks like the growth rate, I mean, it's only a couple of days here, but the growth rate actually looks like it's higher on a global basis, so that is good. Down here, there's 3 minutes that people spend on average on the site, and they visit about 2.5 pages per site. So let's jump over to Bernie's, and Bernie's has this. His is our politics and activism. This was kind of interesting. They're 4.21 times more likely to visit sites in this category compared to all other internet users. That's crazy. Pretty interesting. Like, they're very involved. These are the Bernie Sanders people. Okay, so let's take a look. First of all, I just want to point out something interesting. Just in this short duration from here to here, we can see that Bernie Sanders was gaining. Then at the debate, he was definitely the loser in terms of, like, we just took a look at what happened with Yang, right? He's like, boom, and up and to the right, and Bernie Sanders was like, damn, down to the left, or down and to the right. But we do see just over the whole 90-day period, no real trend, just up and down, kind of like bobbling along. And his ranking in the U.S. is 5,291st. Also, they spend, so his site's much less popular, 2.5 times less popular in the United States out of all websites. People spend less time on the site right here than they do on Yang's, right? 3 minutes versus 2 minutes. And they actually view less data when they're on the site, 2 pages for Bernie versus 2.5 for Yang. So I found that very interesting. So this battle goes to Yang. So if you've been following along, the score now is Yang lost to YouTube, Bernie Sanders won. Yang won YouTube, Bernie Sanders lost. Yang is number 2 on with the YouTube channel. They just need to step it up. Like, somebody get in contact with them and step it up. By the way, if anybody knows anybody who is in the media or who has a podcast and they want to see some interesting perspective around the work I'm doing, share my contact with them. So maybe we can collaborate on something. If they want to see something different or have a different perspective, I think I can come on there and talk and help bring value to their audience. So it's not just me getting more exposure. I want to be able to actually provide value and different perspective on those things. So if you want to help out, share my shit with them. Okay, but when we go over here, we take an average of those. We have a draw. So this is where I had actually initially started. I was like, I'm going to compare them across these 4 variables. And then I did this, and we came up with a draw. I did not plan this at all. So what I did was I needed to compare them over one more thing. So what we wanted to do was take a look at their Twitter. So what we do, and I'm going to go back to this one real quick. Next. Twitter, we have 852,000 followers versus, holy fuck, 10 times that amount, over 10 times that about 10 million, which is absolutely insane. Okay, so now we're going to scroll down to what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the total number of tweets over the past 30 days here, and we look at 492, and then the daily average is 16. And then we're going to take a look at Yang's. And Yang's, he's tweeting significantly more, right? Like about 1.5 times more, and just on every day, he's just tweeting more than Bernie Sanders is. So to me, what tweeting and being just more consistent about the volume of tweets that is going out is that that's an indicator of the volume of work or effort that's getting put into something, assuming that there's not a bot doing something, but based upon what Yang's YouTube channel is like, I don't see them using a bot because they don't have their YouTube stuff together yet, so that would indicate that they weren't that sophisticated in that realm to have a bot doing something for them. Anyways, so we compare that. Now let's take a look at the total number of followers that they've gained, right? So this is Bernie Sanders, and he's gained 123,000 followers. And look at this. Andrew Yang's gained 153,000. So he's got a tiny little following compared to Bernie Sanders, but just, not too long ago, Andrew Yang's thing was significantly smaller. So when I started doing these videos about a month ago, I don't remember what it was, but I feel like it was in the 600s or something. So he's grown that substantially. So in terms of the growth, he's growing not at like a growth rate that's like, I don't know, 10, probably like 25 times his channel, his Twitter account's growing from a growth rate standpoint, probably at 22 to 25 times faster than Bernie Sanders is. Like, absolutely astonishing numbers, you know what I mean? But it is only a fraction of the size. So if he can continue to build this momentum and actually increase that growth rate up to like 50 times faster, I think then he'll be able to gain enough of awareness to really make more of an impact, right? He's got under 1 million versus almost 10 million for Bernie Sanders. So there's still a long way to go. I know Bernie Sanders, maybe not a lot of them might be engaged, but they might also be engaged too. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So what ends up happening here? Well, what we see here is that Twitter, we have Andrew Yang ranking first. Why? Because he has more tweets on average over the last 30 days, which to me just indicates more effort is getting put into developing the community and awareness on Twitter. Like Twitter's just like you can jump into conversations. By the way, my Twitter account got suspended, so I have to create a new fucking Twitter account. But I mean, there's a link down below is broken, so jump over to Instagram. And he also is growing on an absolute basis much more quickly, which is tremendous compared to like what is happening with Bernie Sanders, right? Like, it's just the growth rate on those is too like crazy numbers. So, anyways, we have Andrew Yang actually winning overall on average by a small margin when we take in all of these factors. I'd love to hear what you guys think of the analysis down below in the comments. If you like following this content, make sure you press that subscribe button. But more importantly, I think sharing this video or some of this content with somebody you think that will get value. Like, don't just do it because I'm asking, right? Like, and it will benefit the channel. Like, do it even if you don't share the video. Just go out there and tell other people about what other ways of like thinking about how to understand what the world is happening around us by using the data online. So you can just talk about that. You don't have to share the video. But if you don't want to go to those lengths, just smash that thumbs up button, and it does help out that channel tremendously. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm, so this video gets put in front of more people. Let's get into a YouTube comment. So this is how I'm going to try to end out a couple of the videos. So where I'm going to go into my channel, and we're going to pull up the YouTube comments, and we're just going to answer a couple of these and shout these people out live. Okay, so let's see this person here. He commented on a Andrew Yang versus Joe Biden and who won the debate. Yo, I just found your channel here. Okay, this is by M. Castro. Yo, I just found your channel here. Gonna subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Castro or Mrs. Castro, whoever this is. I believe it's probably male. You present interesting stuff for this Ladut. I'm not sure what that means. I should probably Google that. One thing about the hashtag graph is the scale of the y-axis. If you were able to set them to the same limit, you would get better. Oh man, I should have fucking done this. This is a great point what he's making right now. The same limit, you will get a better graphic sense of the difference. But I know you know this. This is the information you are accessing for free. Yes, sir. Awesome, awesome comment. First of all, that's an awesome comment. I think that is super helpful. So in the video that he's referencing, I compare a hashtag trending over the last 24 hours, and because the total volume of hashtags that had been produced was different, the scaling was different, so you couldn't really compare them. But if the scaling was the same, then you could compare them. Mr. Castro, yes, I was just using it for free. If anybody knows anybody who can get it for free or wants to share their shit with me, I'd be happy to use that. So let's take another one right down here. Let's take a look at Andrew Yang is rising. So I just mentioned that I'm literally working on a video with who appears the closest competitor is Bernie Sanders, which you just watched. Like, I published this comment right before making the video. Nobody with measurable testosterone level. Okay, so this is probably going to be an awesome comment. Right? Whenever they start out and you can just sense something's up and something's going to be a good comment, it's going to be a good comment. So let's go in here. Nobody with a measurable amount of testosterone. This is on Andrew Yang, who won the third debate. Is going to back that clown after bending the knee to Clinton. I don't even see how the DP is even still a thing. This is from Star Trek Theory. I apologize. I have no idea actually what that means. Wait a second. Let me try reading this again. Nobody with a measurable amount of testosterone level is going to back that clown. I'm assuming he's talking about Andrew Yang after bending the knee to Clinton. I'm assuming he appeared to come off maybe submissive to some people in terms of this last part of the statement of what he's saying. I don't even see how the DP, I think my definition of DP comes from Pornhub. I don't think he is referencing the same thing here, is even still a thing. But I have no idea what he is talking about. Anyways, if you guys appreciate this content, let me know. If you want to see your comment come up on here, just leave a comment. Like, the more thoughtful and considerate the comment is, the more likely it is that I'm going to read it on here. So, also, if you have any feedback on anything that I'm doing, I'd love to hear feedback. Always trying to get better. So, thank you so much for watching. Peace.